So we're here in Hollywood. It's Steve Stevens' studio, talking a little bit about gear and your career and stuff like that. And we just had a really cool presentation about the G System. Great playing, great sounds. So, well, we're honored to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So, and now you built a really, really cool studio here.
Yeah, I started, it's kind of morphed into something different. Originally, this was like a basic, 8-track studio. And then little by little, you go gear crazy. And then I incorporated Pro Tools. And once I incorporated Pro Tools, I had to get preamps and all this kind of stuff. And then, as a guitarist, you kind of go, well, the Pro Tools is very digital. And so in order to kind of warm up the guitar, you have to get, kind of like API stuff. And then now I've got some BAE mic pre's. And so these are incredible mic pre's that I've just gotten and really made a big difference. And then when I'm actually tracking, I've done 2 records out of here. Obviously, we don't do drums, but we have cabinets set up in the other rooms. And I've gotten really good guitar tones out of here because it's, it's really simple. Make sure your guitar sounds good to begin with, and get some decent mics, run them through decent preamps, and then just let it be captured with. I don't EQ anything because I'm not an engineer. And then when we come time to mix, I'm giving a mix engineer basically stuff with as little coloring on it as possible. And it's worked out pretty well. We do a lot of writing with Billy Idol here, writing for some new material, new record now, and so it's there's something to be said about not having to look at the clock ticking, and if you want to take a break, you just go get a sandwich or something. So it's pretty cool. And I got to mention today that I've got one of these new Wolfgang guitars. This guitar is, for years I played the Ernie Ball Axis, which is also an incredible guitar, but there's a lot of things about this guitar really, really cool. Really happy with it, and so I've got to give some props there.
So, did you do any of your solo album stuff here as well?
Last solo, when I did Memory Crash, that was all done here. All the guitars, bass, keyboards, any programming stuff, and then a friend of mine has a studio named Black Sound, which is in Pasadena. So basically, I walked in there with a hard drive. Is my life for the last 6 months, 7 months, whatever, and we get in and we tracked real drums to it. And sometimes you get into a thing where that record was actually recorded, all of the tracks to MIDI drums. Okay. And then once we put the real drums on it, some of the guitar tones didn't kind of mesh. So we re-recorded some guitar stuff, and the bass I only kept as a DI, so we reamped it based on what the drum sounded like. So that worked out pretty well. I would, for my next record, I would probably go about doing it the same way.
I guess it's kind of nice just to be able to go in whenever you have an idea and just,
Yeah. And it's cool to, kind of like, I can only take a project so far. As I said, I'm not an engineer. So when I'm done with all the music, it's great to put it in someone else's hands and kind of say, okay, what do you hear? As long as it's somebody you trust, how do you envision this? So that worked out really well.